Good morning, everybody. How great it is to be able to be with you here already starting a new year. It is 2023. We can hardly wait to get going. It's exciting. And man, how great it is that we can get going and do it so easily. Here we are. I'm coming to you from my kitchen table here so that we can sit down and do some really important business stuff for you, for your life, and for making a difference in your life. I want this to be a life changer for you, and I know that it will be. I'm confident of it, and we can do it without even having to leave, huh? We can do it right here, right where we are. It's pretty cool. You gotta love it. This is it. So welcome to the Integrity Doctors Winter Conference, right where you are. This is awesome. And so I want to start it out with a question for you. You ready? Are you, I'm not talking about anybody, nobody else matters. Are you an eagle or a chicken? Kind of a simple question, but it's important. Here's how we're going to handle it. Today we've learned in these past few years that, you test. How important it is that you take a test. We have a COVID test. Now, it doesn't matter whether we feel like we have COVID or we have any symptoms. We know that we take tests. We've had to take this COVID test I don't even know how many times, and we're required to do a COVID test to find out if we have it or not. So we take a test, and the test will tell you. And you know that they're in every pharmacy, they're in every place, they're in every store, they're on the sides of the road, camped out to give you one of these tests. Take it every day or week, because, you never know when you have it. And it's demanded, really, by many before you can do anything or you can go anywhere else. Now, we do other things. It's not just that test. We take blood tests. We take blood pressure tests. We take screening tests for everything just to find out if we have this or we have that. And now, you guys, there's a real popular test. It's a personality test that we like taking these days, and it's called Enneagram. So, with this personality test, there's been a certain personality that has been paired with a number. Are you a 1 or a 2 or a 7 or an 8 or a 10 or whatever? So there's a personality that's been paired with, and you may be all that number. You may be all 8. But most people, it seems, they have a number, like maybe their main number is 8, but they also have what Enneagram calls a wing number. And that is one where you have some of this other one. So you may be an 8 with a wing of a 2. Or you may be a 2 with a wing of an 8. See, and so you just read all these things that go with the number, and you take this test that way to find out what you really are. People love it. Well, now I've got a much more important test for you to take, and we need to do it continually. Are you a chicken or an eagle? And we need to take a test for that. We need to take a test for what I consider to be this critically important God-given purpose. That you know that you're on it or you're not. Your God-given purpose for being on this planet. For living. Are you a chicken or an eagle? Or maybe you're a chicken with a wing of an eagle. Or you're an eagle with a chicken wing. Well, we have a test that I want you to take. Now, the truth of the matter is, we created this test about 5 years ago. And it worked so well, we stopped doing it. We see in this age of tests that we need to bring it back. And I want all of us. How many of us? All of us. What's the definition of all? All, it's all. Well, I want all of us to take this test at least once a week. Now, I'm not going to ask you to commit for doing this for life, but at least for this month, for a month, and let's see what the test tells you. Then, what I want you to do is make it your goal that for the week, every week, you're going to increase your score and then see if it makes a difference. Now, why do we want to do that? Well, because, hey, it's a new year right now. This is when you start stuff like this. It's a new year, and it's time for us to soar. We have settled long enough. We have stayed at home long enough. We have put things aside long enough. It's time to soar. So the real question is not whether it's time. We know that it's time to soar. The real question is, how do we in life and in business. How do we start soaring like an eagle in 2023? And better yet, this is always a question we have. Why do some people rise higher and faster than others do? What is it that makes the difference anyway? Is it intelligence? Well, I don't like to think so. Is it looks? I'm absolutely sure that's what it is. It's looks. It's looks. It's not why I know it. Is it luck? Is it different circumstances? Maybe they had more time than we do. Or more money. Oh, sure, if I had their money. No. All of those things can be proven wrong time and time again. There's lots of ugly people who soar like an eagle. There is lots of people with no time that soar like an eagle. There are lots of people that aren't the brightest bulb in the chandelier. So what is it? What is it that determines your rate of climb? And we're going to call that ROC, rate of climb. What determines your rate of climb? And the answer is found in this eagle test. There's 5 things that determine your rate of climb or lack of it. Now, the way you're going to remember these 5 things is we make it easy. We use EAGLE as an acronym so that each letter in the word EAGLE stands for the 5 things that determine your rate of climb. So the first one, the E in EAGLE, the E stands for energy. What is your energy level? You increase your rate of climb by increasing your energy level. Are you higher than everybody else in energy? Are you second to none? Well, that determines your rate of climb. Then the A stands for your attitude of awesomeness. What is your awesomeness level? What is your attitude toward your awesomeness? How awesome are you? The image of who we are and what we can do. If you build your image, if you build that awesomeness level, then you will increase your rate of climb. The third thing, the E, the A, and then the G stands for goal clarity. This sounds like a simple sentence, but it's missed by most people. You have to know where you're going if you're going to get there. Sounds pretty easy, doesn't it? But most people do not know where they're going, and they haven't set their goal clarity. They do not have goal clarity. They kind of have a generality. They want to be happy, or something like that. They want to be rich or something like that. None of that. You have to have goal clarity. So what is the dream? You got to know that. Then that takes us to the L. It takes a lot of fuel to be able to rise higher. So what is the fuel in your office? The fuel is love. Here's what I have learned. Chickens like and eagles love. Chickens like it. How'd you like it? I like it. I like it. Eagles love it. They love it. There's no... Eagles love, chickens like. And then finally, the E stands for your level of enthusiasm. E for enthusiasm. Now, I would ask you look at your enthusiasm. Do you think there's another level? Is there another level of enthusiasm? You bet there is. Now, it doesn't take a whole new personality. The difference between the word last and the word blast is just one letter. Now, we don't have to change your whole personality. We just have to increase your enthusiasm. The higher you score on the Eagle test, the faster and higher you will climb. We need to build our score. The problem is most people don't believe this. They don't believe that this will make you fly. But soaring, by using these 5 things, has been proven. It isn't a motivational speech. It works. It's real. So, let's learn how to do it. You ready to go? Let's do it. Let's take each one. So, if we're going to get this in the new year and start it like this, how do we in life and in business start soaring, we start by increasing your energy. I was amazed by this. See, you think energy isn't any big deal. Let me just say something. Thomas Fuller was able to take himself from an African slave to one of the most successful mathematicians in history. He went from having no way to make a difference to making a difference in all of history. Now, how did he rise from the one to the other? Here's what he said. He said the real difference in people is energy. That means we probably don't focus on energy near as much as we should. Now, I need to clarify something for us here so we make sure we go for the right thing. There's a difference in strength and energy. See, there are many people who work out, for example, and they're in the gym every morning, and men, they develop a strength in the gym, and they can bench 400 pounds. Shoot, they can climb the steps of the Eiffel Tower. They can climb the steps to the top. They have lots of strength. They can run a marathon. But they don't have the energy to make a phone call for their practice. They don't have the energy to recruit a needed staff member. They don't have the energy to do an interview and recruit a new doctor. You ask them how they're tired. You ask them when they're tired. They're tired. Now, they're not when they're in the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, but then they're there and now they're tired. They're worn out. They need a break. They need less hours. They need more time off. We need more holidays. They feel sorry for themselves. They just don't have the energy, you see. They have a lot of strength, just no energy. Once they get to doing their purpose, then they just keep their hand on the pulse like, I'm afraid I'm working a little bit hard. I think my pulse will start to increase. Now, these people, by the way, are much stronger than me. But interestingly enough, I have the energy of 10 of them. Isn't that interesting? I've never bought an energy drink. I have the energy of an eagle. But I'm not near as strong as most people. There's a difference in strength and energy. Chickens have strength usually for things for themselves, but very little energy toward their purpose, which always includes making a difference in other people's lives. So when you ask them about their purpose and you ask them how they are doing, okay, tired. They need a break. They monitor every effort of energy, but work like crazy on their strength. I can energize most strong people under the table. Chickens like to live at the energy, this is what they do, at the energy level of everybody else. Now, I'll tell you how you can gauge this, for instance. Like when the phone rings in your office, you know how most people answer the phone in the office? The same way they've heard everybody else answer the phone in the office. The way the other chickens answer their phone in the office. We all are just mimickers of a low energy level. The phone rings. I was on this thing in the computer, and now it's interrupted me. Then the video go, this is Family Chiropractic. This is Janice. Well, that's about as low as energy, but that's the way most people answer the phone. Like everybody else. Boring. How many times, what would happen if you heard somebody say, it's a great day at Family Chiropractic. This is Janice. Can I schedule an appointment for you today? Now, some people say those words, but do they say it with that energy? You're thinking, no, because everybody will think I'm a nut. That's because hardly anybody has energy and nobody wants to stand out. Nobody wants to be the hyper child. Here's the deal. Here's what's interesting. A high energy level stands out. And that's the problem, is that most people don't want to stand out. They want to blend in. Eagles soar above the rest because they choose to fly at a higher level of energy. It's easier to live like everybody else. That's just easier to do, you guys. If you're going to increase your rate of climb, if you're going to truly soar, you can't be like everybody else because they don't soar. They're chickens with maybe a wing of an eagle, rather than being an eagle with maybe an occasional chicken wing. We allow chickens to define what cool means for us usually. Low energy, no soaring, mere scratching on the ground, clucking like chickens. I assure you that energy matters. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? That's what we want you to add up, is give yourself a number. How do you know your energy level? Well, I don't know. How does your energy level compare to, let's say, the energy level of a 6-year-old? You notice that we always say, I wish I had her energy, talking about that 6-year-old. Well, why can't you? 6-year-olds are not strong, but they have endless energy. Chickens choose to live with a low energy level. Sometimes they're even proud of it. Chickens take on the energy level of a 90-year-old when we are only 30. Now, what if you chose to be 6? Because almost no one chooses to raise their energy level, even though they choose all the time to increase their strength, which is why most people just don't soar. What are some of those energy blockers anyway? Well, fear would be one. Now, little kids, they scare me to death. My grandkids, they scare me to death. Little Nolan, he'll jump from this ladder to the couch, and it's like 5 yards or something, and you just know they're going to die. But they don't have any fear. That's why they do so good on the phones and on the computers and stuff. They have no fear of punching and stuff. They have a childlike belief system. They believe anything is possible. They believe people are good. They believe God is good. They believe life is good. They live with no cynicism. Can you imagine? And here's another energy blocker, is guilt. Kids have no guilt. Brother John, they're just clean. They're innocent. They have no hard feelings. They cry for a few minutes and then it's over. They can go on to something else. Resentment, on the other hand, for us, is remembering every wrong. It's an energy drainer. Remembering every loss. Eagles have the same blockers. You think that they're different. They don't have energy blockers. Eagles have the same energy blockers as chickens. They just choose to rise above them. So let me ask you, what is draining you of your energy? A divorce that won't end, seems like? An addicted daughter, maybe, that won't stop? A son that just won't start, get off the couch? A boatload of debt that feels like forever? You cannot wait until there are no energy blockers in order to start soaring, because they'll always be there. It's time to soar now. Rise above them. We call it defying gravity, huh? Eagles soar and don't grow weary. They walk and do not faint. They have energy. Increase your energy level. Second thing, A, is attitude of awesomeness. How do you see yourself? Doctor, do you see yourself as just an average doctor? Or do you see yourself as the lead doctor of the community? Do you see yourself that way truly? Do you see yourself as surviving among a lot of competition of doctors? Or do you see yourself as a world changer? Do you see yourself as the leader of healthcare? Or just one of the many? You need to build your image. Increase your attitude of awesomeness. Do you see an eagle who is soaring when you look at yourself? Or a chicken that is scratching? Do you see yourself as having already hit your potential, the top? Well, I've done all I can do as a chiropractor, and I just don't have any more room to soar. So then you think you then need to bring in someone else, maybe an MD or something. You want to bring in something else so that you can rise to a higher level rather than increasing your awesomeness, your attitude of awesomeness. You need to increase your view of you. Now, let me ask you, does it matter how you see yourself? I'm telling you it does. Let me ask you a question. If you had been born as Spike Lee or Woody Allen, and you looked in the mirror and you saw yourself as Woody Allen or Spike Lee, would you have looked in the mirror and said, boy, now there's a star. Sheesh. There's somebody who would be great in the movies. There's somebody who would be an amazing producer, director, a writer. Well, what if you'd been born Jason Alexander, on George on Seinfeld? Or Michael Richards, Kramer? Would you have quit your job, moved out west to become a TV star? Just asking. If you were their friend or their consultant, would you have recommended that they quit their job and move out west to become a star? Or would you have thought that you or they didn't look like one? Don't have the qualities of a star? Well, how you see yourself matters. They started with the image of a star before they became a star. I assure you, that's how they increased their rate of climb. And their image influenced their actions. It gave them the speed they needed to take off and soar. So what do you need to do? You need to change your attitude of awesomeness. In fact, change your total attitude of awesomeness. Not just how you see yourself. Let's take a few other things. How you see chiropractic. You need to change how you see the awesomeness level of chiropractic. How you see today, for crying out loud. Even when you viewed into this, when you came to this today, did you see that this was going to change your life, or did you see something you got to do, or you got to go through, or did you see it wasn't going to make a difference? How do you see today, this new year? On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you see these things? And could your level be increased? How you see people in life. When you raise your awesomeness level, you will also raise your rate of climb. There is what I call the sin of selling yourself short. Now look, you were made in the image of God. Is that how you see yourself when you look in the mirror? I'm just asking, do you see yourself as being in the image of God? Let me just say this. You can be assured that that's how God sees you. Jesus said, greater things will you do than I have done. Now, is that the way you see you? And let me ask, was he just blowing? Or would he always tell the truth? Did he mean it? You need to see the truth. You need to increase your awesomeness level, how you see yourself, your image. There's a popular thing these days about ancestry, and knowing what your ancestry is. People get on a quest, to find out their lineage and their background and family and so on and so forth, their bloodline. Hey, I've got 3% Indian in me. Well, that's great. But let me tell you what I know about your heritage, and I know it. You are 100% a child of God. What do you think of that? You've been made in his image, which means this. When he sees you, he sees him. You've been made in his image, so when he sees you, he sees him. Now let me ask you, when you see you, do you see him? Do you live like you are 100% God's child? Are you sure? You may say, well, yeah, but I'm an adopted child of God. Well, you think that matters? Let me help you with that one just real quick. I have an adopted granddaughter. And let me just tell you right now, she is 100% all my granddaughter. And if you question that even for a second, you try to harm her. You try to hurt her. You try to pull her back. You try to criticize her. Let me tell you something right now. If you try to bring harm to her, you're bringing harm to me, and you will find out real quick how I feel about that, and you'll find out that she is all mine, 100%, and I'm not going to let it happen. Now let me tell you something about God. You will find out real quick that I am all God's, 100%. He protects me. He lifts me. He provides for me. And let me tell you, don't sell yourself short. It's a sin. This awesomeness level matters. Because you know what? I realize I've got a river of life flowing out of me. Makes the lame to walk and the blind to see. Opens prison doors. Sets the captives free. I've got a river of life flowing out of me. Wow. Can you increase your awesomeness level, you think? Well, we got to keep going, so let's keep going. Let's go to the G. Goal clarity. Have you ever gone to the grocery store and seen somebody just rushing through and they've got a list in their hand? They've got this list and they go through there and they go up and down the aisles and man, I'm telling you, they just grab this and they grab that and they're out of there in no time. And then there's other people who have no idea what they've come in there for. They just walk and they just wander down the aisles. I found that most people are wanderers down the aisle of life. They did not come with a list. They do not have goal clarity. We should have a clear mission. That is your 5-year plan. You need to have it and get on it or get back on it, but you need to realize that it is your 5-year plan that will increase your rate of climb. Don't try to blame me. Don't try to blame me and say, well, I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that, or I don't want to hire this person, or I don't want to add that. Hey, don't blame me. It's your 5-year plan. Make your 5-year plan. Where do you want to be in 5 years? What do you want life to look like? What do you want the dream? What is the dream anyway? You can't get somewhere you don't know where you're going. What's the dream? Make yourself, where do you want to be in 5 years? And then we make a plan. It's your dream and it's going to be your plan. We'll make out a plan. We'll make your dream happen. Not mine, yours. Just make sure you make it an exciting mission. We must condense our mission then. Once we get that 5-year thing, once we get that dream outline, we know what the dream is, then we work backward. And we reduce it then to weekly goals, to monthly goals. We must condense our mission, know what your weekly, I can't reach the dream this week. I know that. But this is what I need to get done this week to get there. It needs to be clear because our greatest weariness comes from work not yet done. Let me say that again. Most people are a lot more tired from this work that just sits on their desk than they are doing the work that they got done. Our greatest weariness comes from work not yet done. So, most people feel like they will never arrive. So, what do? They quit driving. Know what the definition of success is for this week. Goal clarity. Know your monthly goals. Put it on the wall, put it on a board, on a computer monitor, review them daily, and then check your stats at the end of the month to make sure you arrived. If not, hit it harder, drive faster. Know your 5-year plan. On a scale of 1 to 10, how clear is your goal clarity? The plan should be the boss. The plan should be the boss. And the plan drives you. Everybody would say they know this, but interestingly enough, only 1% actually does this. Goal clarity is proven to pick up your speed to soar. So EAG, so we've got this down, EAG. The next one is L. The fourth step yet is love. Love never fails. How often does love work? Always. Love never fails. Now, chickens like, eagles love. So like doesn't speed you up. If you like what you're doing, it ain't going to soar. If you love it, you're going to soar. If you aren't soaring, you aren't loving. Because love never fails. So I know that you're not loving. If you're not soaring, I know you're not loving because love never fails, ever. Why does love work? Because love fuels excellence. Love fuels service. And if you don't love, you're not interested in either one. You're not interested in serving people, sacrificing with serving. You're not interested in excellence. You just want enough to get by. Chickens like everything, so they do everything mediocre. They do everything average. The average just likes. Love gets you to do what you would never do normally. You know as well as I do, we don't want to change other people's kids' diapers. We won't pay for their meals, not other people's kids. We don't want to take them to school and pick them up. We don't want to buy their school clothes. We don't want to take them on vacation. You want to take other people's kids on vacation? God forbid. The only kids you will do this for is yours. And why will you do it for yours? Because you love them. Love changes the equation, you guys. It takes you to a whole nother level. Grandkids work the same way, I will tell you that for sure. I'll do more for my 3 grandkids than I will do for your kids. Not trying to hurt your feelings or anything, but there's no comparison. What's the difference? Love becomes the fuel for action. So, what happens if you love chiropractic? What happens if you love your destiny? What happens if you love your plan? What happens if you love your patients? What happens if you love your work? It increases your rate of climb. That's what happens. It just will. It shows when you don't love. You can say you love it, but it shows. Just like I can spot a grandparent with their grandkids in a heartbeat. I don't know. They just act different. They just look different. They just talk different. Love matters. Love never fails. That takes us to the last one, the last E. The L stands for love. The E stands for enthusiasm. See, you think I'm really goofy when I do that because we think enthusiasm is goofy. So what is your level of enthusiasm anyway? Have you put your heart into full throttle? You see, I see the shirt, and we have them, and I like the shirt, by the way, but we stay too calm most of the time. Most people fall by the wayside because they simply want too many things with a half of a heart. You know, I've noticed, I don't know if it's about you, just going through all these playoffs and stuff. The interesting thing is that a football game usually starts with the leader of the team gathering the team around into a huddle, and then he starts yelling and screaming and pointing at them, and he's cheering them, going, and they're doing it too, and then he'll say something, and they'll say something, then they all say it together, and they'll say these words, they'll start jumping up and down, and we're gonna win, on the count of 3, win, I don't know. I got a feeling that the word they're saying isn't relax. But that's our first thought. Our first thought is, take it easy. Relax. Be safe. But hey, that's not really what the team needs. In fact, that is what halftime is really for as well. We need a time even in the middle to stop and say, we're going to win this thing. I know that we're behind by 20 points, but I'm telling you, we have just as many minutes now in the second half as they had in the first half. We can make it up. We're going to do this. Are you ready? Change the enthusiasm level of the team, and you'll change the results. To reach destiny, you must make a full-hearted decision, commitment. You build a team with enthusiasm, and you shake the world with it. Here's the reason why it works this way, is because people run towards the fire, and they run away from smoke. Most people are just a bunch of smoke. Not real. What do you got to do? That means you got to get on fire, bucko. William James said, compared to what we ought to be, we are only half awake. Well, that's so true. We are making use, he said, of only a small part of our physical and mental resources. And then I really like what Dr. von Braun said. Years before anyone ever went to the moon, someone asked him, what would it take to make a rocket to reach the moon? And he said, the will to do it. That's the heart. That's the enthusiasm going for it. I'm wondering, Thomas Edison said, I'm wondering what would have happened to me if some fluent talker had converted me to the theory of the 8-hour day. I'm glad that the 8-hour day had not been invented when I was a young man. Because in my life, if it had been made up of an 8-hour day, I don't believe I could have accomplished very much. So I got to ask you, how do we then increase our level of enthusiasm? You build enthusiasm with praise. We need this. You and I, we need this. When I interviewed our doctors about their super clinics and heard their great success and how great these super clinics were doing, I mean, our success level in super clinics has been off the charts. But when I listened to them, I discovered we really need to improve our praise skills. Wow, it is easy to talk like chickens, you guys. They did a horrible job of communicating their greatness, their successes, their value. I mean, if you just listened to the way they said it and their praise level, I'm telling you, you would have thought they were just barely getting by. I think they call it humbleness, but it isn't. They were just sounded silent to all the great things, pointing out the weaknesses instead. So how are you on this praise business anyway? Here's what I'm going to tell you. Put this somewhere where you can see it. Watch your words. They'll pull you down or they'll pick you up. Praise provides fuel for enthusiasm. It ignites us. But very few people choose to be praise people. We are not naturally very good at praise. At least I hope that's true, because I know that I'm not. I know that if I do it, I have to really make myself do it. Because we are naturally very good at complaining, griping, and seeing what won't work. Focusing on the losses instead of the wins. And then naturally, this slows us down. And we need to speed it up. So you have to choose to hit the accelerator of praise, and I do too. You will be shocked at how constant praise will speed you up and get you where you really want to grow. So, what should I praise about? The healing power of chiropractic. It would be one great place to start. Get sold on it. You would stop searching for other loves if you loved the tremendous, natural, unbeatable results of removing nerve interference. Get enamored with it, man. Get obsessed with it. Talk it up. Praise the tremendous healing power of chiropractic. Hear yourself talk about it. Hear yourself say it. Hear yourself tell other patients about it. Praise chiropractic. Praise the dream, bucko. Changing lives by changing health naturally. Taking the lead in healthcare. The chiropractic healthcare revolution in your community that has really been started by the growth of your practice. And the good news is it's only just begun. Yay for our team. We are taking the lead from this drug dependence. And look at all the baloney they tell us about drugs. And we have the truth to tell, and it's all good. And we don't tell it? Man, if they can brag about these vaccines, how can we not praise about chiropractic? Which leads me to praising wellness. Praise wellness. Praise wellness. It is the solution to our living longer. We must do this, you guys. I have been so excited to see the pictures all over, like on our app. You know, the pictures of these wellness walls that we have in our clinics that are just walls full of people who have signed on to wellness. Our wellness visits have gone through the roof. It is awesome. And we need to start talking about that, praising that, being thrilled with that. We cannot let people live crippled, drug-dependent lives. We must start from the beginning with the healing that comes from the inside out. We need to give wellness the praise it deserves. What do you say? We need to praise the doctor more, just to be honest with you. Nobody else can remove nerve interference. It isn't like we can go to some other doctor, to some other clinic, to some other place. Nobody else can remove nerve interference. No one else knows how. No one else is licensed to do it. No one else has the expertise. No one else has the skills. There's only a few of these specialists. They're called chiropractors, and there's not very many of them. It's a real small percent. Man, we need to be thankful and praise these doctors. So I want to ask you this. Can you improve the level of your praise mode? Because it will work. Praise will turn your office into heaven on earth, and you will take off. So let me kind of try to wrap this up a little bit. Increase your score, and you will drastically increase your rate of climb. Take those things and give yourself a number on a scale of 1 to 10. And then take this test again every week, working to increase that number. See how high you can get. Maybe we could get 10 in all 5 areas, and just maybe you could be an eagle and not an eagle even with a chicken wing. Maybe we move from chicken with a wing of eagle to eagle with a... Oh, rats. That's a timer telling me that I'm supposed to quit. It can't be right. They can't make these things right. I don't know what's wrong with these dumb things anyway. So I'll finish it. So in other words, you might be interested. The first racehorse in history of the United States to win over $1 million in prize money racing a horse race is a horse named Armed. The horse that came in second place to Armed won only $75,000. Now that would mean if it went by that, you would think that Armed was 13 times better than his closest competitor. But when you added up the times of their races, of these two horses from $1 million to $75,000, you would discover that Armed was only 3% faster than that second place horse. But look at the difference in earnings. You know how to increase your rate of climb? You know how to increase your rate of success? Shoot, if we would take this and increase it by 3%, making you 3% faster than everybody else, what would it do? What makes the difference in those who soar higher and get there faster than those who don't soar at all? One team talks about taking the Eagle test, and another team does it for a month. That's the difference. It isn't because they are smarter or more talented or better than you. You have what it takes to soar. You just have to be willing to do it. So are you willing to increase your rate of climb? I told you right when I started this thing, you take this one little short 45-minute session and you apply it even for 1 month, you're going to soar. You're going to take off. We're going to move from chicken to eagle, or chicken with an eagle wing to eagle with a chicken, but we're going to soar. You'll never be the same. Is that awesome or what? Thanks for paying attention. Let's take a break.